Margaret walked into my office convinced she needed a knee replacement. She was 67, had been taking anti-inflammatory medication for 3 years, and could barely climb the stairs in her own home. Her x-rays showed mild arthritis, nothing severe. Her rheumatologist had told her to keep taking the pills and wait for the inevitable surgery. But when I asked her one simple question, everything changed. I said, "Margaret, when you wake up in the morning, is the pain worse or better than when you went to bed?" She paused. "It's actually better in the morning," she said. "It gets worse as the day goes on." That answer told me everything I needed to know. The problem wasn't her cartilage. It wasn't inflammation. It wasn't even arthritis. It was something most doctors never check. Something reversible and something you can start fixing tonight. Stay with me. Here's what nobody tells you. Joint pain after 60 is almost never just about worn-out cartilage. The medical system has convinced an entire generation that achy knees and stiff hips are inevitable parts of aging, that you should take your ibuprofen, ice your joints, and wait for surgery. But I've held beating hearts in my hands. I've spent 28 years as a cardiothoracic surgeon, and I performed over 2,000 surgeries. I've seen what happens inside the human body when systems break down. And I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The pain you're feeling right now is not your destiny. It's a signal. Your body is screaming at you to pay attention to something the medical establishment ignores. Most orthopedic surgeons treat joints like car parts. Worn cartilage? Replace it. Inflamed tissue? Suppress it. But your joints are not mechanical. They're living tissue connected to every other system in your body. Blood flow, nerve function, muscle tension, cellular energy, hydration, all of it matters. And when doctors treat joint pain like an isolated hardware problem, they miss the real cause 90% of the time. After 60, your body doesn't break down the same way it did at 40. This is not about getting older. This is about how your cells produce energy. Every joint in your body relies on something called synovial fluid. Think of it like motor oil for your knees, hips, and shoulders. This fluid cushions the joint, reduces friction, and delivers nutrients to cartilage. But here's the problem. Cartilage has no blood supply. It depends entirely on synovial fluid to stay healthy. And synovial fluid depends on movement, hydration, and cellular energy production. When any of those 3 factors drops, your joints start grinding. By age 65, the average person produces 30% less ATP, the energy molecule that powers every cell in your body. Less ATP means less synovial fluid production. Less synovial fluid means more friction. More friction means pain. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that joint stiffness in adults over 60 was more strongly correlated with mitochondrial dysfunction than with cartilage damage. Let me say that again. The stiffness in your knees has more to do with how your cells make energy than with how much cartilage you've lost. That's the gap. That's what nobody tells you. Now let me walk you through the 5 real reasons your joints hurt and how to fix each one starting tonight. Write that down. Number 1. Dehydration at the cellular level. You've probably heard that you should drink 8 glasses of water a day. That's not enough. Not for joint health, not even close. Synovial fluid is 95% water. When you're dehydrated, your body pulls water from non-essential tissues first, and guess what your body considers non-essential? Joint lubrication. Your brain gets priority. Your heart gets priority. Your kidneys get priority. Your knees? Last in line. Most people over 60 walk around in a state of chronic low-grade dehydration and don't even know it. You drink coffee in the morning, which is a diuretic. Maybe a glass of water at lunch if you remember. Some tea in the afternoon. Maybe a soda. Meanwhile, your kidneys are working overtime, trying to filter waste with insufficient fluid. Your skin is dry and papery. Your lips are cracked. Your urine is dark yellow. And your joints are grinding like stone on stone because there's not enough synovial fluid to cushion the impact. But here's the part that makes it worse. As you age, your thirst mechanism weakens. The signal that tells you to drink water gets quieter and quieter. You stop feeling thirsty, even when your cells are desperate for water. This is why elderly patients end up in the ER with dehydration. They literally don't feel it until they're in crisis. And long before that crisis, their joints are screaming. I had a patient, Robert, 72 years old, came in with hip pain so severe he couldn't play with his grandchildren. He couldn't bend down to tie his shoes. He'd been taking Celebrex for 2 years. His doctor had mentioned hip replacement. I asked him one simple question. How much water do you drink daily? He looked at me like I was wasting his time. He said, maybe 3 or 4 cups. What does that have to do with my hip? I told him to drink half his body weight in ounces every day for 2 weeks. Nothing else changed. No new medications, no new supplements, no physical therapy, no diet changes, just water. 14 days. He came back and the pain had dropped by 60%, 60% from water. His wife thought I was a miracle worker. She hugged me in the hallway. I wasn't a miracle worker. I just understood what his orthopedist didn't. Your joints are not broken. They're thirsty. Here's your fix. Starting tonight, drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily. If you weigh 160 pounds, that's 80 ounces. If you weigh 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces. Spread it throughout the day. Don't chug it all at once. Your kidneys can only process about a liter per hour. If you drink too much too fast, you'll just pee it out without absorbing it. Add a pinch of sea salt to your first glass in the morning, not table salt. Sea salt or Himalayan salt. The sodium and trace minerals help your cells actually absorb the water instead of flushing it straight through. And if you're on diuretics or blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor first, but don't skip this step. Dehydration is killing your joints and you don't even feel it. Write that down. Number 2, magnesium deficiency and muscle tension. Your joints don't hurt because of your joints. They hurt because of the muscles around your joints. Let me explain. Every joint in your body is stabilized by muscles. Your knee is held together by your quadriceps, hamstrings, and calf muscles. Your shoulder is stabilized by your rotator cuff. Your hip is supported by your glutes, hip flexors, and deep pelvic muscles. When those muscles are chronically tight, they pull on the joint like ropes pulling on tent poles. They compress the cartilage. They create uneven pressure distribution. They restrict blood flow, and they generate inflammation. And the number one cause of chronic muscle tension after 60? Magnesium deficiency. Magnesium is responsible for over 300 biochemical reactions in your body. It's involved in protein synthesis, DNA repair, nerve transmission, blood pressure regulation, blood sugar control, and most importantly for your joints, muscle relaxation. When you don't have enough magnesium, your muscles can't fully relax. They stay in a state of low-grade contraction 24 hours a day. Even when you're sleeping, even when you think you're relaxed, your muscle fibers are clenched. This is why your pain gets worse as the day goes on. It's not because you're using the joint more. It's because your muscles are clenching tighter and tighter, grinding your joints from the outside in. By bedtime, the tension is so high that even lying down hurts. Studies show that nearly half of all adults over 60 are magnesium deficient, and most of them have no idea. You won't feel it as a dramatic cramp or a sudden spasm. You'll feel it as joint pain, stiffness, restless legs at night, and that deep ache that ibuprofen barely touches. Why are so many people deficient? Because modern soil is depleted. The food you eat has less magnesium than it did 50 years ago. Because you eat processed foods that are stripped of minerals. Because stress burns through magnesium faster than you can replenish it. Because certain medications, diuretics, proton pump inhibitors, antibiotics, all of them deplete magnesium. And because as you age, your gut absorbs magnesium less efficiently. It's a perfect storm. I treated a woman named Linda, 64, with chronic knee pain. She'd been told she had osteoarthritis and needed to lose weight before they'd even consider surgery. Lose 30 pounds, then we'll talk, her orthopedist said. She came to me frustrated, exhausted, ready to give up. She'd tried physical therapy. She'd tried cortisone shots. She'd tried cutting carbs and walking on the treadmill, but the knee pain made exercise unbearable. I ran a simple magnesium RBC test, not the standard serum magnesium test most doctors use, because serum magnesium is useless. It only measures what's in your blood, not what's in your cells. Your blood will steal magnesium from your bones and muscles to keep serum levels normal. So a normal serum test means nothing. Her RBC magnesium levels were in the basement. I put her on magnesium glycinate, 400 milligrams before bed. Within 3 weeks, the knee pain was nearly gone. She didn't lose a pound. She didn't do more physical therapy. Her muscles finally relaxed and the pressure on her knee released. Here's your fix. Take magnesium glycinate, not magnesium oxide. Oxide is cheap. It's in every drugstore, and it's poorly absorbed. Most of it ends up in your toilet. Glycinate is the form your body actually uses. It's bonded to the amino acid glycine, which also calms your nervous system. Start with 400 milligrams at night. Magnesium also improves sleep quality, so you'll notice that benefit first. Give it 2 weeks. If your joint pain is being driven by muscle tension, you'll feel the difference. And if you wake up in the middle of the night with tight calves, restless legs, or muscle twitches, that's your body screaming for magnesium. Start tonight. But here's what most people miss. And this is where everything changes. I'm going to tell you something that will sound impossible. Something your doctor will probably dismiss. But I've seen it reverse joint pain in patients who were weeks away from surgery. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about inflammation. Number 3. Chronic low-grade inflammation from seed oils. You've been told that inflammation causes joint pain. That's true. But what causes the inflammation? Your doctor will say it's age, wear and tear, maybe autoimmune activity. That's lazy medicine. The real driver of chronic inflammation in your joints is the oil you cook with, specifically seed oils. Canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil. These oils are in everything. Salad dressing, mayonnaise, packaged snacks, restaurant food, even so-called healthy granola bars. And they are destroying your joints from the inside out. Here's why. Seed oils are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. In small amounts, omega-6 is fine, but the average American consumes 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3. That ratio creates a state of systemic inflammation that never turns off. Your immune system stays activated, pumping out inflammatory molecules that attack your joints, your arteries, your brain. And because the inflammation is constant, your body can't heal. You take ibuprofen to reduce the inflammation, but you eat seed oils 3 times a day. You're pouring gasoline on a fire and wondering why the fire won't go out. I had a patient named Stephen, 71, with shoulder pain so bad he couldn't lift his arm above his head. He tried cortisone injections, physical therapy, acupuncture. Nothing worked. I asked him to eliminate all seed oils for 30 days. No canola oil, no vegetable oil, no processed foods. He switched to olive oil, butter, and avocado oil. He thought I was insane. 30 days later, he walked into my office and lifted both arms straight up. Full range of motion. No pain. He said, "I haven't been able to do that in 4 years." The inflammation didn't come from his shoulder. It came from his kitchen. Here's your fix. Go through your pantry tonight. Throw out anything with canola oil, soybean oil, or vegetable oil on the label. Cook with olive oil, butter, ghee, or avocado oil only. When you eat out, ask what oil they use. If they say vegetable oil, skip the fried food. This one change will reduce systemic inflammation faster than any drug. And the joint pain relief is just the beginning. You'll sleep better. Your skin will clear up. Your energy will stabilize. All because you stop poisoning yourself with industrial oils. Number 4, mitochondrial dysfunction and energy collapse. I told you earlier that your cells produce less ATP after 60. Let me explain why that matters for your joints. Every cell in your body has mitochondria, tiny power plants that turn oxygen and nutrients into energy. A single liver cell might have 2,000 mitochondria. A muscle cell might have even more. These mitochondria are working every second of every day, producing ATP molecules that power everything from your heartbeat to your thoughts to the repair mechanisms in your joints. When your mitochondria are healthy, they produce ATP efficiently with minimal waste. When they're damaged, they produce less ATP and more oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like rust inside your cells. It damages DNA, it damages proteins, it damages cell membranes, it triggers inflammation, and it accelerates aging at the cellular level. And your joints are especially vulnerable. Cartilage cells, called chondrocytes, have very few mitochondria compared to other cells. A chondrocyte might only have a few dozen mitochondria, where a liver cell has thousands. They're already operating on the edge. They don't have the energy reserves that other cells have. When mitochondrial function drops even slightly, chondrocytes can't repair damage fast enough. The cartilage breaks down. Synovial fluid production drops because the cells lining your joint don't have the energy to produce it, and you end up with pain that no amount of rest will fix, because rest doesn't fix broken energy production. But here's the good news. You can restore mitochondrial function, not with medication, with specific nutrients that your mitochondria need to work. The most important one is CoQ10. CoQ10 is a molecule that sits inside the mitochondrial membrane and helps shuttle electrons through the energy production chain. Without it, your mitochondria sputter like an engine without spark plugs. Your body makes CoQ10 naturally, but production drops by 50% after age 40. By age 70, you might only be producing a fraction of what you made in your 20s. And if you're on a statin drug for cholesterol, your CoQ10 levels are even lower. Statins block an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase. That enzyme is responsible for making cholesterol, which is why statins lower your cholesterol. But that same enzyme is also responsible for making CoQ10. So when you block it, you block CoQ10 production. This is why so many people on statins complain of muscle pain, fatigue, and joint aches. Their mitochondria are starving, and nobody told them. I treated a man named James, 68, with chronic knee and lower back pain. He'd been on atorvastatin for 6 years. His cholesterol numbers were beautiful. His joints hurt so badly, he'd stopped going to the gym. He used to lift weights 4 days a week. Now he could barely walk up a flight of stairs without stopping. I checked his CoQ10 levels, undetectable. The lab couldn't even measure them. I started him on ubiquinol, the active form of CoQ10, 200 milligrams daily. Within 5 weeks, his joint pain dropped by 70%. Within 10 weeks, he was back in the gym, lifting weights, walking 3 miles a day without limping. His cardiologist had never mentioned CoQ10, not once in 6 years. Here's your fix. Take ubiquinol, not ubiquinone. Ubiquinone is the oxidized form. Your body has to convert it to ubiquinol before it can use it, and that conversion becomes less efficient as you age. Just buy the ubiquinol form and save your body the work. Start with 100 to 200 milligrams daily with a meal that contains fat. CoQ10 is fat-soluble, so it absorbs better with olive oil, avocado, nuts, or fish. Take it in the morning or at lunch, not at night, because it can boost energy and interfere with sleep in some people. Give it 4 to 6 weeks. This isn't a painkiller. You're not masking symptoms. You're rebuilding your cellular energy system. The pain relief comes as your mitochondria heal and your cells regain the ability to produce synovial fluid and repair cartilage. And if you're on a statin, this is non-negotiable. You're destroying your CoQ10 levels and wondering why you ache everywhere. The solution is simple. Number 5, vitamin K2 deficiency and calcium misplacement. This is the one nobody talks about. You've been told to take calcium for your bones. Maybe you take a supplement. Maybe you drink fortified orange juice. But here's the problem. Calcium doesn't automatically go to your bones. It goes wherever your body puts it. And without enough vitamin K2, calcium ends up in the wrong places. Your arteries, your joints, your soft tissues. This is called soft tissue calcification, and it's one of the hidden drivers of joint pain after 60. Vitamin K2 activates a protein called osteocalcin, which pulls calcium out of your blood and deposits it in your bones and teeth where it belongs. Without K2, calcium floats around and gets deposited in your joint spaces, creating stiffness, inflammation, and pain that feels exactly like arthritis. I had a patient named Dorothy, 73, with terrible hip pain. She'd been taking calcium supplements for 15 years because her doctor told her it would prevent osteoporosis. Her bone density was still low, and her hips hurt constantly. I ran a coronary calcium scan, not because I suspected heart disease, but because I wanted to see where her calcium was going. Her score was over 400. She had calcified plaque in her arteries and calcified deposits around her hip joints. I stopped the calcium supplements immediately and started her on vitamin K2 MK7, 200 micrograms daily. I also added vitamin D3 because K2 and D3 work together. 6 weeks later, her hip pain had improved by 50%. 3 months later, she was walking 2 miles a day without limping. The calcium didn't disappear overnight, but her body stopped depositing new calcium in the wrong places, and the inflammation around her joints finally calmed down. Here's your fix. If you take calcium supplements, stop. You're probably getting enough calcium from food. What you're missing is K2. Take vitamin K2 MK7, 100 to 200 micrograms daily. Pair it with vitamin D3, ideally 5,000 IU if you're deficient. And if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, talk to your doctor first because K2 affects clotting. But for most people, this combination will redirect calcium to your bones and pull it out of your joints. The pain relief can be dramatic. I need to tell you something I don't talk about often. I've stood in operating rooms for hours, hands deep in someone's chest, repairing damage that didn't need to happen. Preventable damage. And when the surgery is done, I walk out to the waiting room and I see the families, exhausted, terrified, hopeful. And I know that in most cases, the crisis could have been avoided. Not with better drugs, not with earlier surgery, with information, with someone telling them the truth about what was actually going wrong inside their body. I've seen 70-year-old men whose knees were bone on bone, not because their cartilage wore out, but because they spent 40 years dehydrated, magnesium deficient, and eating seed oils at every meal. I've seen women scheduled for hip replacements who just needed to fix their vitamin K2 levels. The system doesn't care. It's built to manage symptoms, not reverse causes. And the saddest part is, the patients trust the system. They think if something could be fixed with water or magnesium or CoQ10, their doctor would have told them. But their doctor doesn't know, or doesn't have time, or doesn't get reimbursed for spending 30 minutes talking about nutrition. So the patient suffers and waits and eventually goes under the knife. That question has stayed with me. How many surgeries could we prevent if we just told people the truth? Margaret, the woman I told you about at the beginning, is 70 now. 3 years after she walked into my office, convinced she needed surgery. She never got the knee replacement. She never went under anesthesia. She never spent months in physical therapy recovering from an operation she didn't need. She drinks 80 ounces of water daily. She takes magnesium glycinate every night. She switched to olive oil and butter. She takes ubiquinol and vitamin K2. Her knee pain is gone. Not managed, not reduced, gone. She hikes with her grandchildren. She gardens. She lives without fear of stairs. And when I saw her last month, she said something I'll never forget. She said, "I spent 3 years thinking my body was broken. Nobody told me. I just needed the right information." That's the gap. That's what this is about. Let me summarize the 5 real reasons your joints hurt and what to do about each one. Number 1, cellular dehydration. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily. Add a pinch of sea salt to your first glass. Number 2, magnesium deficiency. Take 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate at night. Number 3, chronic inflammation from seed oils. Eliminate canola, soybean, and vegetable oils. Cook with olive oil, butter, or avocado oil only. Number 4, mitochondrial dysfunction. Take 100 to 200 milligrams of ubiquinol daily with fat. Number 5, vitamin K2 deficiency. Take 100 to 200 micrograms of K2, MK7, with 5,000 IU of vitamin D3. These are not complicated. These are not expensive, but they work. And they work because they address the root cause, not the symptom. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 surprised you the most? Have you been taking calcium without K2? Are you cooking with seed oils and didn't realize it? Drop a comment below and tell me which one you're starting tonight. And if this information helped you, share this video with someone you love who's struggling with joint pain. Someone who's been told surgery is inevitable. Someone who thinks their body is just wearing out. They need to hear this. And if you want more content like this, real information that actually helps, hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every week, breaking down the health advice you've been given and showing you what actually works. Your heart has been working for you every single minute of every single day since before you were born. It's never taken a break, never asked for permission, never stopped. And the same is true for every cell in your body, including the ones in your joints. They want to heal. They want to function properly. They just need the right materials: water, magnesium, clean fats, cellular energy, proper calcium placement. Give your body what it needs, and it will do exactly what it was designed to do. Heal. It is never too late.